I think that I speak for a lot of people who look like me, unless you are virtue signaling or have blue hair. And if you do, then keep scrolling. But for the rest of us, we're exhausted. We're exhausted with the rules of the things that we can and can't do. And we're tired of hearing white women, like, dear white women, who's perpetuating what? We're just exhausted with it. You can't have our hairstyle, cultural appropriation. Braids don't belong to you, sorry. And don't smile at us. When you're walking past us, don't smile at us. I will smile at whoever I want. That's just me. I smile at people. It's a cultural thing from when I was little. We were taught to smile at people, and that's okay. I mean, it's borderline, no, not even borderline. It's bullying. Just leave us alone. You don't have to tell us what you think about us. We don't care. Just leave us alone. I mean, it's starting to look like you are just obsessed with us. That's not a pretty look.
Basically, white apologists are starting to get fed up with, or let me revise that, white women and white people in general. I don't even think that this is just singular to white women. I think that white people are starting to get fed up with having to apologize for being born something that they can't control and embracing just being a regular everyday person. But then they have to sidestep every single issue in order to make other people feel good. And let's just be honest, it's black women. It's largely black women. You can sprinkle a couple black men in there also, but for the most part, it's black women. And so when you get up on these apps, if you scroll long enough and if you deep dive into a dark hole and your algorithm get fucked up, you'll start to see a group of black women that are basically sitting there trying to give advice on how white women are supposed to make sure that they accommodate them, or not to move a certain way, or not to.
Some of you are about to stop following me right now. I had a conversation with my cousin the other day, and it was quite disheartening. It's not bad enough that as black women, we are often alone or the first in our roles. We are fighting against systems and people who don't want us there. What makes it worse is when there are other black women in place that are making our lives hell. Now look, sis, I know you've been through a lot to get there. I know you had to endure. I know it maybe took you longer to get there than you wanted to get there. You got all the education, you paid your dues, and in fact, you have earned everything that you have done to be there. But that does not give you a reason or an excuse to mistreat other black women simply because your role was challenging. In fact, if this is you, and it is you, if what I'm saying is hitting close to home, you probably need to go and get some help for that. It is unfair for you to place the treatment that you've experienced on other black women. In fact, I'm going to say you have a responsibility because, see, you stand on the shoulders yourself of other black women that have come before you. So I'm going to ask you to check yourself, because whatever that ish is in 2025, we're not carrying it into 2026. And if you can't get yourself together, you might need to find another position.
I am absolutely sick, and the world is sick, of people using the race card to defend any argument that they have. Oh, if I believe Muslims shouldn't put out the call to prayer in Regina over loudspeaker, Sondran, you must be a racist. Even me, as a Muslim, I will get called a racist by my own community members that are Muslims. Or if somebody comes, like with the kirpan, to a gym, and I say, that is not a kirpan, that is a buck knife, oh, you racially are profiling me, you are a racist. Or when I call out when people steal food from food banks, people, international students that should have the financial wherewithal to support themselves. This person is black. You must be a racist. Why don't you take 2 seconds before you leave a stupid comment and cry racism to even look at my post to see, is it targeting one group, or do you see everybody? A collection of white people, black people, white people, brown people, Muslim people, all of the people. I don't know what person this is. I don't categorize them when I make these videos. This guy, I don't know what he looks like. Jamaican. I don't give a shit. All of these people are criminals that need to be held accountable for their actions. I am Canadian first. It could be any of these people. This is called holding people accountable. Oh, an Arab person. Oh, great. Oh, here's a white person. Oh, you don't cover white crime. This is a white pedophile, 500,000 views. Where were you then? And what this has done is you've numbed those words for people. So when there's actual racism to call out, everyone's numbed by it. Of course racism exists. And people are so soft. I don't know what environments these people were born. Of course, when you talk about things online and people have color on their skin, of course there will be a few, just like in everything, that are radical, that will say racist things, and people get so hurt by this. You don't have to educate me what it feels like to be victimized by racism. I'm Afghani and Iraqi. I was the ultimate terrorist. And 9/11 happened. Literally, I was just labeled a terrorist for a decade of my life. Everywhere I went. I'm not crying about it. People say, Sandra, why do you even cover these stories? What, should I not cover what is happening in this country? Should Global News and CBC News not cover these stories because you're scared of the reaction of certain people's comments being racist, and you think because of that we should just chill speaking about the issues in this country? No. People follow me in this channel because they trust me to hold everybody in this country accountable. You've been following me. You trust me because I do that, regardless of the community. And that's how we should be applying all of our laws. We should all be treated equally. And that is what's been lost in this country. And this is why we have all of this divide. If we were all treated the same, none of this would be happening.
So this is a really problematic statement, even though a lot of people would think it's quite neutral or even possibly positive. But the truth is this, then you are ignorant of the history. You are ignorant of, in Canada, the Indian Act. You're ignorant of the quotes of why it is John A. Macdonald's a piece of shit. So for me, it's like I know you're trying to be kind and you're trying to do the right things, and I don't see racism, but then you don't see our oppression, and you don't see the history of this country, and you also don't understand why it is, the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People would then include Indigenous governance. That's a foreign concept to a lot of Canadians because, of course, you haven't been taught it. So, I know we're on the same page. I know we're wanting the same goal, but I do need you and other Canadians to understand the history of why it is we're here. And yes, it's rising because of America, but it's always been here.
You can never sell me on white women teaching me how to parent. They just started raising their own children, and I don't like the fruit from that tree. Have a good day.
Stop using history to justify racism today. Today, white women raise their own children. So my question is, did you personally raise any of their kids? Did your grandma? Did anyone in your bloodline that you personally knew raise their children? If not, what does that history have to do with judging people living today? Now imagine if a white woman said, you could never convince me to let black women teach me how to parent, and justify it with sweeping claims like black mothers are raising kids who end up in gangs, doing drugs, committing crimes, or having babies without getting married. That would be racism, right? So why is it acceptable when the target is different?
Anti-Black racism is worldwide. 16 police officers in Canada are under investigation for racist conduct. And the allegation that stood out to me the most was that officers were cutting locks from black people's heads and keeping them as trophies. Trophies! Like they were hunting big game, because that's what people do when they kill animals. They keep a piece of them as proof of the hunt. So what does it say about how these officers viewed black people? If they were cutting off their locks and saving them, they didn't see human beings. They saw prey. And this happened in Canada, right? The same Canada people point to as the place black people should run to when America becomes too much. But run where? Anti-black racism doesn't stop at the border. It may come with a different accent, a flag, and a more polite image, but It's still there. And this is exactly why the wealth transfer movement must continue. We have to build our own communities, our own schools, restore our own neighborhoods, our own spaces, because running to another country may only give us the same thing we're trying to escape right here. The answer is not running. The answer is building our own.
Supporting ICE is racist, and that is my opinion. I have freedom of speech. Look who's being trapped in detention centers and being away from their families and being separated from their children. Look who's living in fear. And to be honest, it's mainly Latinos. Imagine if armed agents were stopping white families, loading them onto buses, ripping them from their families. Honestly, how would the public react? Do you think it would be a different outcome? I think so. When prejudice replaces compassion, nobody is safe. When you're celebrating people's suffering instead of having compassion for their lives, it's scary. I don't care what color you are, where you came from. I don't care who your mom and dad is. Everyone has an equal right to life. A basic equal right to life. At the end of the day, the most dangerous thing isn't somebody's nationality. It's people that lose their humanity. That's the most dangerous thing. Wake up, America. We're losing.
I've been in Southwest England for about a week now, and the racism is being told that in a direct conversation that Bristol's really rough because there's too many mixed race kids. As a mixed race person, being in a conversation with that, (2026) we're humans.
You guys are disgusting. A very big majority of you all are such a low level, are such a low class, classless, disgusting, embarrassing.
A black woman with over 500,000 followers got on this app and said that the new generation of black women are classless, disgusting, and embarrassing. Then she said that other communities look at us like a science project. Maybe a part of that is because we get on platforms like this and tear each other down. With the large follower count comes influence. Why not use that influence to teach young girls and encourage them about valuing their body, respecting themselves, encourage them to get their education and to see more for themselves? The message only focused on women but ignored the full picture. You have men and women growing up in fatherless homes. The mother is present, but she's working all the time. She's exhausted, mentally and emotionally drained, just trying to survive. So yes, guidance, structure, and emotional support are missing. Other communities are raising their daughters to be wives and their sons to be husbands. In our community, we teaching our daughters to get money, get your education. You got to be independent because nobody's coming to save you. Boys are being taught to prioritize themselves. Go play basketball, go play football. You got to be the best athlete because that's going to be your ticket out. And a lot of them are watching their fathers, their uncles, their cousins move around from woman to woman, and that becomes a thing that's celebrated. Where is the teaching on emotional responsibility? Nobody's teaching about commitment, respect, and having healthy relationships. And then we act confused when the patterns keep repeating themselves. Kids aren't just being raised dealing with their trauma, they're also being raised by parents who haven't healed their trauma. They see the cheating, they hear the arguments, they see the disrespect, and sometimes even the abuse. So now you got women staying in relationships where they're not loved properly, men who were never taught to love properly, and the children see it all. These behaviors absolutely need to be addressed, and a lot of what we see online is very hard to watch. I get all of that. But you cannot take real issues and turn them into character attacks on an entire group of women. And let's stop acting like this is new behavior, because Freaknik happened in the 90s. The difference now is everybody has a phone, everything gets recorded, and social media pushes the worst dynamics to the front. If you really want better, you have to address the root of the behavior. You can't just talk about behaviors without talking about what people were exposed to, what they were taught, and the things that they had to survive. With influence comes responsibility. You can tear people down for views, or you can build people up with the truth.
What if Mother Nature created a plague that only affects white people?
Well, that would be just fine, because I would spend my remaining days praying and trying to create one that only affected y'all. Right back at you. But let's see how long my video stays up, knowing obviously yours is still up, and it shouldn't be. You are the reason why there's still racism. You, and how you think and how you act. Have a good day. Try to get some right.
We need black legislation to protect black life. And you ain't got a single law against anti-black racism. The Emmett Till anti-lynching bill is weak. It has no teeth. It's multicultural. The federal hate crimes bill is weak. It has no teeth. It's multicultural. We need an anti-black hate crimes bill. Where is President Joe Biden? Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? Where is President Joe Biden? Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? Where is the NAACP? Brothers and sisters, we are at war. I really don't know what y'all voting for next November. I really don't know.